Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie and today I'm going to be talking about books I've recently picked up, library books. We'll get into it. So it's been a while since I've done a book haul. I went back to my videos and I think it's been since like April or May, and we're now in the middle of September, which is crazy. Like, I constantly buy books. I don't know why I haven't been like updating y'all, but I thought I would show you what I've recently been picking up in no particular order. So let's go ahead and get started. So my September book of the month box actually got lost. So I contacted Book of the Month and they were very pleasant to work with, and they said they would send me a new box. Well, it turns out my neighbor down the street actually had my box, but he was out of town for a week. So he actually dropped off a box. I contacted Book of the Month and they told me no worries to totally give it away as a friend or just do a giveaway. So I'm actually going to be giving away these books right here. So let's go ahead and talk about it. The first one is One by One by Ruth Ware. I think this is going to have Clue vibes. This one is about a group of people who I think all work together and they decide to go on like a ski trip, and I think there's an avalanche, and then one by one people start getting killed off. The premise of this kind of reminds me of An Unwanted Guest by Sherry LaPena, but I know a lot of people like Ruth Ware, so yeah. I also have another copy of Home Before Dark. I originally ordered this one to give to a friend because she really wanted her own copy, but I have another one now. So this is one of my favorites personally, but this one has to do with a woman who, when she was 5 years old, moved into this haunted house with her family. They moved out once, like, you know, stuff happened, and her father wrote a book about their, you know, about their time in this house, and it became really famous. Her father passes away. She inherits the house. Now she's going back to get a little bit more answers, and I absolutely love this one. Totally a 5-star. As all the books drop to the floor. 1 second. So yeah, this one is totally a 5-star read. I would highly recommend if you haven't picked this one up, but definitely check out the description for more details. The next one I got is One to Watch by Kate Stamen London. I've heard nothing but great things about this one. This one's supposed to be like basically The Bachelorette, but with a plus size female character, and I'm so intrigued because I love the Bachelor and Bachelorette like franchise, so I'm really excited to get to this one as well. So yes, if you're interested in joining my giveaway, I'm actually hosting it on my Instagram, which is @readingwithjess_. Definitely give me a follow, give me a like. I will actually have a post that looks very similar to this, and that is the post that you need to follow for all the instructions and how to win and enter. Also, I forgot to mention there's going to be 3 winners, not just one. The next ones I want to talk about are my library picks. So I actually picked up A Familiar Dark by Amy Engel. This one, I loved The Rodent Girls by her, so I decided to pick this one up too as well. From what I've been told, it's about a mother who finds out her daughter was killed or murdered or died, and she's trying to figure out exactly what happened. So I'm very excited to get to this one. I really like Amy Engel's writing style with The Rodent Girls, so I'm hoping it continues with this one as well. Next, probably one of my favorite authors of all time is going to be Colleen Hoover. It says C. Hoover. This is a library old edition. I actually have my own copy being delivered, I think on Monday, but this is called Too Late. This is a very dark romance. It's got lots of trigger warnings, so I would definitely know that before going in there if you're easily triggered. But this one is so good. It's about a woman named Sloane who is dating this guy named Asa, and basically she's kind of always known like Asa's the one for her. She meets this guy named Carter who becomes really good friends with Asa, and sparks kind of fly between that, but Asa's a really dark character to read about, so love this one. I recently just gave it 5 stars. Also, I've heard my friend Jacqueline and Gwen rave about this book, so I picked this one up. It's Cruel Beautiful World by Caroline Levitt. I heard this one has like cult vibes, but not really. So I'm super excited. I know this one has to do with a girl named Lucy who's 16 years old. She kind of runs off with her English teacher, I believe, to kind of live like off the grid, and also her sister joins them. And so I heard it has like dark romances and also like cults and stuff like that. So I'm super intrigued to get to this one as well. The next one I picked up was actually a recommendation from Gabby, and it is Playing Nice by J.P. Delaney. This one has to do with a married couple who have a 2-year-old son, and basically they kind of find out that their son is not actually their son, that somehow their child and another child were swapped at the hospital by mistake. So now they're kind of contemplating, like, do we keep the child that we originally raised, or do we try to, you know, get our biological son back? And this one, I love books that constantly make you think, like, what would you do? So I'm really intrigued to get to this one. The next one that I picked up from Target was actually Lies, Lies, Lies by Adele Parks. I actually had a book by Adele Parks, but I never read it, and somehow it's went missing. But this one has to do with a married couple who finally have, like, you know, I think they were blessed with a baby, but I think things get a little crazy. I think at a party, at a party, it mentions that the husband drinks a little too much to let off steam and stuff like that. So I'm kind of curious. I just hope this baby's okay. So I'm hoping to get to this one this month. Next one I have is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. And I absolutely loved this book. I think this is going to make it on my favorites of the year so far. I originally read this one and gave it 4 stars. But the more I kept thinking about it, the more I kept discussing this book with other people, I realized I actually think this is like a 5-star read. I'm like pretty sure. I don't know. It's really good. This one has to do with a woman who has a true crime podcast. And to start her 3rd season of her podcast, she is actually going to be following a rape trial in a local town where Golden Boy Olympic swimmer is being accused of raping a girl. I think it's like the sheriff's granddaughter, I think is what it was. And it's really interesting because it's got those podcast elements. I would recommend listening to the audiobook, but also there was another similar crime that happened years ago, and the podcast lady is getting letters from a girl whose sister was murdered, but they ruled it out as a accidental drowning. I love this one. Just read it. So going back to romance books, I finally picked up Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I really want to get to this one. I'm waiting for the right opportunity to read this one when I'm in, like, I'm getting more into like a romance mood. So I'm hoping this one will come very soon. It is quite a big book. I've never read anything by this author, but I've heard nothing but great things about this one. But I know it's about a girl named Jordan who moves into her boyfriend's dad's house. And there's like this like taboo romance between the father and the girlfriend. So, and I've heard it's pretty steamy, so I'm all about that. Next, I've already read this book, but I thought I'd mention it. I picked up Final Girls by Riley Sager. I originally read this one like back when it first released, but it's on my Kindle, like my old Kindle. So I don't even think I can even access it anymore because I think it's broke. But I wanted my own copy because all of my other Riley Sager books are actually book of the month editions. So being like the OCD person that I am, I wanted them all to match. The next book is The Shadows by Alex North. I did read this one. It had a lot of potential and I did not like it. I think I read this one for Summerween and I think I'm only going to give it 2 stars. I'm pretty sure that's what I put on Goodreads. But this one just really fell flat for me. And I'm kind of sad because this was a recommendation from Gabby. So I don't know. I just wasn't a fan. It had a lot of potential, but it had a certain small trope that I can't stand, and especially in horror and thriller books. So yeah. The next book I want to talk about is Christine by Stephen King. I am really getting more into Stephen King, so I'm actually kind of hoarding them all. So even my mom's looking for books by him. But this one has to do with like a car that this kid buys, and basically I think the car like kind of possesses, like the car's possessed basically. Let's just stick with that. So yeah, and it's quite a thick book too as well. Moving back onto the Colleen Hoover train, I finally picked up my own copy of It Ends With Us. I borrowed my friend's. I did like this book. It's not my favorite. I know a lot of people rave about this book, but it just, I think I gave it like a 4-star, maybe a 3.5, but it just wasn't the greatest, but I loved it in the same way. Does that make sense? Like, it just didn't reach the expectation that everyone else has set for this one. But yeah, this one involves a girl named Lily who meets this guy. His name, oh my gosh, Ryle. His name is Ryle. They kind of hit it off. They have like this amazing relationship. But back in the day, she had a relationship with this guy, and I don't even know how to describe their relationship, but basically, like, she's never really forgotten about him. And then somehow Atlas, which is the other guy, reappears into her life, and it kind of stirs up drama between her and Ryle. I do like this book. I would recommend it, but don't expect it to be like this overwhelming 5-star, 6-star read book that everyone makes it sound like. That's just my opinion. Also, I picked up Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I absolutely love this book. I just finished this one not that long ago, and it's so good. I gave it 4 stars just because it's a little different than what she normally writes, in my opinion. I haven't read her very far backlist, but this one is so good. But I don't know, it's just very different from all the other ones I've loved. But this one involves a girl named Bea who basically, her mother just recently passes away, so she has to go live with her father at their summer house. She meets the next door neighbor whose name is Samson, and they're 2 broken people who love broken things, so they kind of like get attracted to each other in a certain way. So it's basically a summer romance between them 2, knowing that at the end of summer they're going to call it quits. Like, yeah, love this. The last book I want to talk about is One Step Behind by Lauren North. I have not read a Lauren North book, but I'm really curious to get to this one. I love like the stalker trope, but this one is about a woman who has a stalker, and I think something happens to the stalker to where he has to go to the hospital and she has to take care of him, but she knows that that's her stalker, so she starts to get a little more obsessed with him. So it's really like who's stalking who in a way. I don't know. I'm really, really curious to get to this one. That is my complete recent book buying haul, library books, and everything like that. Don't forget about the giveaway. Again, my Instagram is at readingwithjess_. I will be posting that photo to let you guys know how you guys can enter and win. Again, there will be 3 winners, so definitely let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what the most recent book you purchased down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a future bookish video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.